Hello and welcome. It's the PHNX Cardinals podcast, your premier Arizona Cardinal podcast. Like and subscribe. Leave us a 5-star wherever you get your programming. Today's show brought to you by our friends at ButcherBox. ButcherBox is offering our listeners an amazing offer where new users can get free meat plus $20 off their first box. Check them out today, butcherbox.com/PHNX. Use that bonus code PHNX. I'm Johnny Venerable. My co-host, Brack, to the right. Damon, Dawg, behind the mic. We are post-draft now. Finally, can't wait to dive into all these selections, Bo.
Absolutely. Everybody diving into the chat. Drop a like on this video already. Ton of excitement around the Berging. A ton of excitement around this Arizona Cardinals team and its draft class. We're expected to talk to Nick Rollis on Wednesday and the Cardinals offensive coordinator, Drew Petzing, tomorrow. But to provide some more insight on a couple of the Arizona Cardinals' newest players from the University of Illinois, we bring on offensive coordinator Barry Lunney Jr. Coach, how we doing, man? It's got to be an exciting time for the program over there to get two of your players to the next level and playing for an organization like the Cards.
Well, it is. It's exciting for all of our young guys. We had 4 guys drafted, and then it's pretty unique when you get 2 from the same team drafted, to the same organization. So it's a unique situation for us to follow and root for and have vested interest in what's going on with the Cardinals. So we're excited for those 2 guys.
Coach, when the Cardinals made back-to-back picks from the University of Illinois, the first thing I thought of was, man, I remember watching the Fighting Illini, especially 2 years ago, when Chase Brown's, all Big Ten, they're going for, he's 1,600 yards on the ground. And so it doesn't surprise me that they would tap into this well of really quality offensive line prospects. Let's start with Isaiah Adams. Now, he's played some tackle. Cardinals are likely going to use him at guard. Where do you feel like his best football is ahead of him? Which position in particular?
Yeah, I think there's no doubt it's guard. And we knew that, and he knows that, and I think everybody in football knows that. We just had to have him a tackle. We got in a situation that we just really needed him, and that's really what it came down to. And we knew athletically he could hold up out there for us to be able to operate. And really, once we moved him the latter half of the year, that move really helped level us out and brought some balance to us. And we played our best ball offensively down the stretch. And a large part of it was because Isaiah was unselfish enough and didn't even flinch, guys. I mean, just said, Coach, I'll do whatever I need to do. And we felt good that it wouldn't cost him long term, and it might have cost him a little bit, but I think everybody on that level knew what his potential was and where his home was going to be. And certainly I think that's going to end up being at guard.
Well, can you tell us what you think his strengths are going to be at the next level, playing that position that he's probably more geared towards playing?
Well, I think foot speed, and I think that's obviously one of the things that's always my experience as being a college coordinator is the guys that have translated success to the next level, in particular up front, is, there's got to be a certain level of foot speed. And as an offensive guard, you have to be able to climb and be able to try to, track linebackers that obviously can run really well. And so I think he's a really good athlete that has good foot speed. And then he's just got a really good football IQ. He learns very well. He's played left and right. He's played both left and right guard. He's played tackle. He snapped for us and practiced some, so his football intelligence is really, really through the roof as well. And he's got an incredible amount of grit. I mean, he's just really he's the whole package. And I think the Cardinals are getting an outstanding player.
The Cardinals have struggled historically, Coach, with line of scrimmage play on both sides of the ball. And when I think of Brett Bielema coach teams, it's the opposite of that. You think about when Coach was at Wisconsin and now laying the infrastructure with the Fighting Illini. Talk to me a little bit about your philosophy as an offensive coordinator with these players. Do you have a run-first mentality? Is opposing your will on opposing players? Because here in the desert for so long, it's been East and West football, not necessarily North and South. And when we see players of this caliber drafted within the top 100, it's pretty evident what the Cardinals are trying to do.
Yeah, I think that's a great question. I mean, obviously you're spot on about just our philosophy in the program. And 2 years ago, I was impressed, by the way, with the stats you threw out from 2 years ago. Obviously you guys very well informed. You are doing a great job in that regard. But we ran the ball really effectively. We had one of the nation's leading runners, and we felt like 2 years ago we kind of epitomized what we want to be about. And then we kind of took a step backward this year in that regard. We threw the ball a lot better than we ran it. And we we didn't have the same makeup up front, and we lost Chase to the draft, and we were really injured at running back. So this year was a little bit of an anomaly about kind of just our identity and what we want to be. We're trying to get back to that, but certainly Isaiah has been trained in that way. When we recruited him from junior college and brought him in, he adapted to that mentality very quickly and takes great deal of pride in being a physical player that when the chips are down, you can run behind him.
With Isaiah, it helps fortify the offensive line for Kyler Murray and the Arizona Cardinals. And so does, and supplements it is a run blocking tight end. And it really looks like what they have in Tip Reiman coming over in the 3rd round as well. What can you tell us about Tip?
Oh, Tip, he's a phenomenal human. I mean, him and his wife, Maddie, they're just great people. And he's got a real unique story. I was actually on Twitter today at the airport killing some time, and I saw for the first time the picture of him when he came to Illinois as a walk-on, and I was reading about the story. I wasn't even privy to some of that information because it was well before I got to Illinois, but just to go from walk-on to being told, hey, we're not going to offer you a scholarship. We're going to give you a chance to walk on and to watch his development. But it makes sense now knowing who Tip is, right? How committed he is to being the best person he can be, the best football player, the best husband, whatever he puts his mind to, he's super committed to it. And his diet, his routine. I mean, this guy thinks and acts and trains like a pro already. And he's not even one yet, or he is now, but he's just now beginning that stage of his career. And I know he's got a lot to learn in that regard. Don't get me wrong in that, but I think he's got a great foundation for that because of what his makeup is. But just a consummate team player, consummate tough guy, and obviously has really taken off physically here even the last year.
Yeah, his athletic scores this offseason weren't just good. They were historically great. And I think it certainly spearheaded him being a top 100 pick. I mean, I think the Cardinals and the fan base initially envisioned him as a blocking tight end opposite Trey McBride. But do you foresee at any point his ability maybe to become an H-back, certainly a red zone target? Like, talk to me specifically about some of these skills that maybe we didn't always see during the games, but certainly in practice over the course of the last couple of years.
Yeah, I think, obviously, even some of the testing, well, I knew he was really athletic, but I think some of the testing numbers and the way he prepped for the training and the way he popped, I think even surprised, me in regards to, and not that it was really far off, but he really surpassed what I thought maybe the wheelhouse that he would be in. Right. And so I think that's another testament to his work ethic and the way he took his training and coaching and prep. And I coached tight ends for Coach Bielema for 8 years or for 5 years for Coach at Arkansas. And so I coached some guys that, when I put Coach Hunter Henry when he was there at Arkansas, and that was kind of really the best comparison that I could make,
Wow.
and what Tip was as far as his body type, and he even surpassed Hunter's numbers. But yeah, I think, like if you look at him, he probably to some degree, even reflecting on as the offensive coordinator, probably underutilized in what he brings to the table from a passing game standpoint. Our strength of our team was probably our wide receivers last year. We had one drafted. We had one sign a free agent the first night. We have one next year. It's going to get drafted. And so he was surrounded by 3 really good wide receivers that we leaned on a lot for the passing, relied on Tip more for the running game. But when we created opportunities for him, he always took advantage of those. And I think he's just going to keep getting better and better in that world, in the passing game world, of his understanding and spatial awareness. I just saw it continue to get better and better each of the 2 years I was there. And it's certainly something I think that he can provide at that level. But I think we all know, too, initially his niche is going to be getting in and controlling that C gap and using his physicality and his God-given, power to be able to do that. And he will certainly put everything he can into doing that.
Any memories of him utilizing that 6'5", 270-pound frame in the C gap, or anything that he did that you can remember that was just freakish with his skill set?
Well, the big challenge in that area is against like the 4-down structure is you get a defensive end that's like playing a 6-eye or inside shade of the tight end, right? And they have a half a gap leverage on you. And I just saw him repeatedly gain that leverage with his foot speed and then his physicality to push that leverage vertically and controlled the C gap quite a bit for us. Wasn't perfect. That's a hard thing to do in the Big Ten when you're going against defensive ends that tackles have a challenge going against, And so I do remember, several plays. I don't know if I can name one of them. I know against Michigan 2 years ago, it was a really physical game, and it came down in the fourth quarter. I mean, they kicked a field goal to beat us late, and but just physically, I thought we as a whole really went toe to toe with Michigan that day. And Tip kind of epitomized that on some of his blocking and just really got after him all day long. And just that was probably a day where I saw it after, in hindsight, watching the film. I was like, okay, this guy, you know, like this was a really physical day by him. But he's the same guy every day. Like whether it's run drill or at Michigan in practice, he's the same intensity and the same physicality. And I think that's what he's put himself in the position he's in.
You know, I want to get your expectation on both players here entering the rookie season, because the Cardinals have some openings up front on their offensive line. I also look at, you know, Isaiah and Tip's age. I mean, I think Isaiah is going to be 24 this summer. Tip's going to be 23. These are guys I think physically, you would attest to, that are ready for the NFL grind, the rigors, you know, physically. Do you foresee them being able to make an impact as rookies this year?
Yeah, well, I mean, you would think what would be the limitations for a guy that gets drafted in that realm not having a chance to make an impact? It would be, okay, well, you know, is there some physical limitations there as far as do they have to get stronger? Or sure, they do to some degree, but no, they're full grown, right? And they're strong and they're tough. And then well, would there be some learning challenges there? Like, is this a guy that takes a while to learn a system? And I can tell you for a fact, neither one of those guys is that guy, you know, and obviously them being drafted in the slots that they're being drafted in would probably also, indicate that as well, with all the homework that's done for the organizations when they decide to draft somebody that early. So both of those guys, I don't see any, I personally, in my limited experience of dealing with guys, excuse me, my phone slipped there.
You're good.
If going to that level, I don't think there would be any limitations. I think they'll hit the ground running and be able to provide what the Cardinals are hoping they're going to provide.
You know, a lot of us learned about Tip during the coverage of the NFL Combine, and the big story there was his answer to, as far as him not being a believer in birds, right? He's got this conspiracy theory about birds. Is it just the type of his personality? Should we take that as just he's just having some fun, or what should we do as far as going forward with Tip?
I think he's having fun, and I know he's having fun, and you know, he's a great young man that, you know, just, yeah, you're not getting anything like that. You know, I think that was a fun moment for him. Who knows what the context was, right? But I know he's a great human. He's a great teammate. And I think the franchise in the locker room and the fans are going to love and appreciate who he is and how he represents them.
The offensive coordinator for the Fighting Illini in the Big Ten, Coach Barry Lunney Jr. We'll let him go back on the recruiting trail in hopes to find the next Isaiah Adams and Tip Reiman. Coach, thank you so much for your time today, and we'll keep you posted. Would love to check in during the rookie year.
That's great, guys. Yeah, you guys are doing great work. I appreciate you guys having me on for sure.
Likewise. Thanks, Coach.
All right, appreciate it.
There he goes. Just having some fun. Just goofing. Just bird theory goofing. And you like to hear that. But look, the new pipeline to the Arizona Cardinals is from the Big Ten. It's not just Ohio State. It's the Fighting Illini.
What I say during the broadcast, I trust Brett Bielema and his people to develop offensive linemen. Like, you know, I love that Hunter Henry comp. I'm not going to lie, where coach is talking about, the only other guy I've seen physically that looked like this just so happens to be a stud tight end at the NFL level that played for Arkansas. But I mean, you got to go to the source, and the source would say, and that's the reason I brought up 2022. Like, I have family back in the Midwest in Illinois. That 2022 Fighting Illini team, where both of these players started, and Isaiah started at his natural position of left guard, dominated. They dominated on the ground. They had a fantastic season, their best season in what feels like 15 plus years. They had a first team all Big Ten running back that went to the Cincinnati Bengals and Chase Brown. So I think, to Coach's point, they got a little bit off track this year. He's not going to come out and say it. Their quarterback play wasn't that good. Mm-hmm. They lost their quarterback. They lost their running back. Yeah. But the offensive linemen, like, go back and look up Chase Brown's highlights from 2022. The offensive line for the University of Illinois was elite. It was elite. Better than, Iowa, better than Indiana. It was on the par with Michigan, as he said, and Ohio State. So if that's the kind of player or players that the Cardinals are getting as almost ready-made prospects as 23, 24, they should come in and contribute. Like, I had people messaging me on Twitter, like, Isaiah, when I didn't put Isaiah Adams to start as a rookie right away, people were like, oh, he's going to be starting. Like, I would love that. That would be the best case scenario for the Cardinals.
Yeah, absolutely. But what he does is he brings that versatility, right? As the coach pointed out, he can play on both sides of the line. And I think that, like Jonathan Gaines and what they were prepared to do last season, going into his rookie year before he suffered the catastrophic knee injury, they wanted to lean into his versatility. Like, they've got their starters, right? And their offensive line, like, there's a big belief in them in the starting five that whoever ends up taking that job at left guard, and Adams is firmly in the competition, but I think they'll probably lean on somebody with a little bit more experience. But behind them would be guys that they want to have that are versatile and can play multiple roles, because they have so many spots on a roster. I think if you're looking at Gaines potentially in his second year to be the backup primarily for the center, and then you got Adams who can back up, and then somebody in Christian Jones who can be a swing tackle type backup. So they're adding younger depth pieces and, with starter potential in both Adams and Jones, who they selected over the last 2 days of the 3-day draft period.
Drop a like on this video. I'm so flipping fired up for today's show. As Jessica pointed out in the chat, right when the show's over, no more draft preview. These rookies, they're here and they're fantastic. And we're going to talk about all of them as you drop a like on this video. Subscribe to PHNX Sports. I got my Coyotes tee today in celebration of our PHNX Coyotes pod. Had their last podcast today. Go check that out.
Man.
But yeah,
heavy.
It is. It's heavy. So hopefully we bring a little levity and talk about the new era of Arizona Cardinal football. And I put this in my show tweet today, something I was pretty unfamiliar with during my time in the education system. Cardinals made the honor roll with their NFL draft grades, almost A's across the board. Bull Brock for sweet baby Monti Ossenfort and company. How about this? Is this good? Monti Ossenfort getting A's across the board, ranges from A+ from the Ringer all the way to CBS Sports A-. We got to get Trev Sycamore on the phone. Breaks the streak here, PFF B+. I'm not sure if Trev put that grade together or not, but if you average all those together, it's a big fat A for Monti Ossenfort in his second draft. And if you go back to last year's show, overwhelmingly A's for the draft class that did live up to the hype. So, I mean, it's just, I had people in my DM saying, well, Keim had some A drafts. I don't remember too many of them. And I remember a lot of people like post-draft saying, what were the Cardinals doing?
Right.
I think this is, you can feel a little bit better about this.
Absolutely. I mean, the type A personalities will be like, Trev, PFF, come on, what are we doing? Let's just get this thing. Let's just finish this off with an A. But look, it's Empire Strikes Back, right? It's the sequel that's better than the original.
I'm so proud of you.
You're welcome. I knew you would like that. I mean, but it was the opportunity that Monti Ossenfort created for himself, his scouting department, his front office last draft, right? And when people start to say, well, you passed on drafting the defensive rookie of the year, well, you did it because you needed to maximize the third overall pick. And you did that by trading down and then trading back up and getting still a premium position, still the guy that you wanted in Paris Johnson Jr., who had in his own right a rock solid rookie year. It wasn't, defensive player of rookie defensive player of the year, but it set yourself up, to start to work on your offensive line and then also get the draft capital to own this draft. And with the 12 picks that he made, I mean, sure, it's just by having sheer numbers, you're going to hit on them. But still, like he did a great job in getting the players that are going to take this team to the next level in this rebuild. And just congratulations to Monti Ossenfort and the staff. And we look at those, and then there's also the Weasel Warren Sharp giving them a very low number. But we'll get into that later. Yeah,
he's a Weasel boy. Jacob Williams, I love this. Keim would have taken Michael Penix Jr. at number 4. He definitely would have. He by the way, you joke about that, Jacob. He got on some podcast, or I think it was Colin Cowherd, and said he loved the decision by the Falcons. So very on brand. That tracks for Steve Keim. Yeah, let's burn, rookie QB contract while paying Kirk Cousins $180 million. Right. Let's add some first round linebackers to that too, Steve, if we could. Yeah, I mean, I think we all felt, most of us, I don't want to speak for everybody, after the draft concluded, our 15+ hour extravaganza, big shout out to producer Damon, produced us all the way through on that show, that it had the makings of an A draft. And outside of a couple picks on day 2, which left us, I wouldn't say confused, but maybe taken back in terms of maybe what we thought they were going to do. And clearly they have a point. We're going to get to that. Day 3 was big time value with the likes of Christian Jones, among others. And I think day 1, as we look all the way back, Thursday seems like forever ago, was about as best case scenario as you can get.
Yeah.
You solidify yourself as the major players for Marvin Harrison Jr., and then you allow yourself to stay patient at 27, get what a lot of people felt was DT2 in the class, Darius Robinson. Clearly, like Darius Robinson was going to go ahead of Jerzon Newton, even though we loved him. And you don't have to trade assets to do that. You don't feel like you have to scramble. And I think it speaks also to, and we're going to talk about some of our favorite picks later on in the show, this edge defensive line class was very thin. And so Monti Ossenfort, knowing that and knowing the distinct, let's just call it lack of depth that they've had at that position, being able to say, I'm going to get my guy. I'm not going to have to trade away picks. I get who we want at 27. You go into day 2 and day 3 with a lot of flexibility. And that's how they operated.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, look, there was opportunity, right, to maybe get up and get an edge, one of the few worthy that would push the status quo group that they're returning from year 1 to year 2 under Gannon and Ossenfort and Zaven Collins and Gardeck and BJ Ojulari. But outside of that, it probably wasn't there. And where they prioritize, right? I put out the clip from our conversation with Jonathan Gannon at the Combine and how much they value hand in the dirt guys. And that's exactly what Darius Robinson is, and the versatility across the line. And like they may just said, look, we prefer the guy that's going to play on the line of scrimmage instead of somebody that's just off, that's going to rush the passer. Like we feel like he's going to be able to elevate what we already have in place, and there's more value there in sticking and picking at 27. And we see Darius Robinson, David Blackwell from the Missouri Athletic Department tweeted out he's back in the lab today. I mean, he's already back in the lab, just, the crazy work ethic that he described on Thursday night, already back into it here.
You
think
on Robert Kimdichie be doing that? Was that Keach doing that post draft? I posted that on Twitter and I thought that was mean, so I deleted it. So I saved it for the show, but
you're just mean these days.
I guess I'm just not a nice guy.
Bad man. You're a bad man.
I am. I'm not a good dude. I want Darius Robinson not to be a good dude, though. I love the mindset, by the way, because they needed edge and defensive tackle.
Mm-hmm.
And while I think edge rusher historically has been more publicized as a premium pick, the line of scrimmage play up the middle sets the tone for a team. And the Cardinals have been so anemic, respectfully, at that position, and had such, it's just not for a lack of trying. I don't think the guys go out there with an intent to get run over, but the Cardinals can't stop the run. The Cardinals can't fill up the line of scrimmage. The Cardinals can't push the pocket from the interior. And while I think Darius will have a role on the edge, you get a premium, ask Kansas City, ask Aaron Donald and the LA Rams for the last 10 years. You get a premium chess piece up front, like a Darius Robinson, and you hit on that player. It changes the whole dynamic of your defense. Even the Dallas Cowboys with Micah Parsons can get lit up by the Arizona Cardinals' Josh Dobbs run over for 200 yards. Darius Robinson hopefully is the first piece that anchors this rebuilt Arizona Cardinal defensive line into this new era of Cardinal football. Like you can get an edge rusher like Dallas Turner, and that he might be an ass kicker. He might get you 12 sacks, right? Could be another Brian Burns. But Darius Robinson up the middle is so vital because it makes everybody else around him better. Zaven Collins, BJ Ojulari, Dante Stills, and they feed off that energy. We asked Gannon at the Combine, we said, would you rather have a bunch of rotational defensive linemen of quality, which is what they did in free agency, or have the alpha, have the number one guy? He said, I want both. And guess what? They fulfilled that. They're hopeful that Darius Robinson can be that number one DT.
Look at the move today from the Patriots. I mean, they inked Christian Barmore to a $92 million extension. And what's happened since free agency and in free agency, where we just saw if you can play on the defensive line, any lick, you're getting the bag, right? Christian Wilkins, it was a huge, $100 million contract, and Leonard Williams in there, and Justin Matabuke. And since free agency, you've had like teams that had guys that they had under control for maybe a season or two. They're like, nope, we got to extend these guys because they can't hit the open market. Derek Brown and the Carolina Panthers, and then the extension from the Patriots today. The best way to get those guys is drafting them. And I think the Cardinals realize that the rest of the league is becoming aware of that. And you can, sometimes you can find edge guys that become available, but really to elevate those games, whether it's the edge rushers or it's this defensive secondary behind you, you got to have the big guys up front.
I love this comment here from Ozzy. We should use Darius like Cam Jordan or JJ Watt. I think that's what they're going to do. I think somebody that can play the edge when necessary, somebody that can get you sacks off opposing offensive tackles, but also somebody that can live in the middle of the defense. And I think the best compliment I can give Darius Robinson, then I promise we're going to talk about Marvin on this podcast, but Darius Robinson to me has one of the highest floors of any singular player in this draft, where I just, outside of injury, like I don't see him not producing. Now, will he ever be a top 10 defensive tackle? That I don't know. He's a powerful man. I don't know if he has the consistent pass rush, the twitch in his hips to be able to say 10 to 12 sacks a year. That's asking a lot. But think about where the Cardinals are and where they've come from on the defensive line.
Yeah.
Like, how great would it be just to get a guy on a 5-year rookie deal that consistently gets better, that contributes, that's available, that gets a second contract? I mean, sometimes you just got to say the bar is low at the position and then hopefully be surprised when he reaches all pro potential. But plenty of guys, I look at the end of the first round historically, like Cameron Hayward. How long's that guy been an ass kicker in the NFL? Doesn't get the headlines or the accolades. That's the kind of pick you're hoping to get with Darius Robinson, short-term and long-term. I have no doubt about it. They're going to put him, as Jonathan Gannon would say, in positions to be successful, to disrupt. And unlike Vance Joseph, I indefinitely trust Nick Rallis and Jonathan Gannon with the development of these young defensive players.
I don't like to always do this, but I'm going to push back on Luke Stevens saying, be honest, guys. A week ago, you thought D-Rob was a reach at 27, but not I. I don't know if I don't think we ever went on record saying that.
I think I did.
You did?
But I don't think you and Johnny did.
Yeah, I mean, we were hipster Darius Robinson fans when we talked to him at Radio Row in Vegas. I mean, Damon and I were just coming out of Mobile, and he was all the talk at the Senior Bowl.
I'm pulling out my mock draft, a 3-round mock draft that I did back on February 27th. Mm-hmm. And I had the Arizona Cardinals, let's see, taking... They took Darius Robinson at 35, and then I did a mock right before the draft, and I had Darius Robinson going in a trade down right after 27. So I don't think I ever organically had them taking him at 27, but it was either him or Jerzon Johnny Newton consistently. Like Bo and I have been Darius Robinson stands since day one. Did we like Jerzon a little bit more because we thought when we would talk to Trevor Sikkema and Brian Baldinger, they would say he's a fucking top 20 prospect? Well, yeah,
they had him as their top defensive line prospect.
Right. So your eyes are just going to go, oh, if he's available, certainly you take him. Yeah. But the league told us Darius Robinson was better. Like, the league told you that. Darius Robinson would have gone before Jerzon Newton had the Cardinals not taken him.
No doubt about it. Like this video, let's get into some of these super chats.
Yeah, let's do it.
Very generous super chats. Let's start with 1999, front of the program. Topic 64. Thank you so much, my guy. Let's read this one. I'm super excited about Tejon and Xavier. These two dudes can be big contributors. K1 have a buffet of weapons. MHJ, Michael Wilson, Greg Dortch, Chris Moore. Man, I hope Arias gets some of the reps too. Deep in the playoffs, here we come. So look, Xavier Weaver, who they added as undrafted rookie free agent, and then they've got the 6th-round pick there at a UAB, absolute speedster, who you pointed out on the draft broadcast on Saturday, averaged 18 yards per catch last season.
Yeah. I think Cardinals could have a similar trajectory of either the Detroit Lions 2 years ago, where they went 9-8, just missed the postseason, or maybe the Green Bay Packers this past year, where the Packers took a little bit of time to get going. And then once they got going, especially offensively, they took off. We're going to talk about this offense, topic 64, but there's no excuse this unit shouldn't put up a ton of points. They just have too many good players now.
Yeah, no doubt about it.
Tejon Palmer's RAS 9.57.
9.5.
95th percentile. Is that good?
The Cardinals.
It's not tip, but it's good.
It's you joke, but like the Cardinals are the team that prioritizes that now. Like, you want to couple it with elite play on the field.
Yeah.
But like, they are taking guys that test a certain way, and if you don't, it's probably what should have tipped us off about Brendan Rice on Saturday. It's like, you're not going to get drafted by this team. It's like, they want good football players, but they only deem certain guys worthy of a draft pick if you can hit certain metrics for them. Otherwise, they're not going to mess with you.
Right. You want to keep it going with these super chats?
Yeah, Redbirds, $224, $5. Tip. He basically is an extra lineman. I agree with that. Put hands on him. Awesome draft. Couldn't wait for Monday's show. Hashtag Bird Gang, hashtag line held. The line definitely was held. And hopefully Coach Lunney could provide a lot of people, including myself, with a little bit more of confidence that the tip pick is going to work out. And I don't have any question about, like, he can be a dominant run blocking tight end. And hopefully he gives us a little bit more than that. But again, I had my dad all weekend sending me tips, combine performances. Like, I get it, everybody. I was critical of the pick Friday because it caught me off guard.
Right.
I want to be proven wrong. I want him to be out there, Kyle Juszczyk combined with Gronk. That's what I want to see. But
oh my God.
Yeah, we'll be realistic here.
Lofty expectations on him. Did you hear that? Johnny just said tips the next Gronk / Kyle Juszczyk.
Somebody in the chat said he's got measurables of Gronk, so that's where I ran with
He's
that.
the next greatest tight end of all time.
That's all.
It's lofty.
Tip, if you want to be not
like
top 10 pick, top 90 pick, you got to be Gronk.
That seems like it's a value. There's some value there. If that's what he is, I think that's pretty good.
Don't talk to me.
Look,
it's been so good not to
when
see
you look at their
2
depth chart, and you and I have been just in the lab working on depth charts like a bunch of sickos. I saw yours put it up on Twitter.
Yeah, I got real problems.
But when you think about Tip and where he realistically like where he fits in, it's tight end. It's tight end 2, probably 3, right? And that's the huge sticking point for you and I. It's like you took 82nd overall, you took tight end 2 or probably 3, and that. Like, there's value. Well, he's going to have a role on this team, especially in the personnel packages that they play. We're like, you and I, what we thought we knew about Monti Ossenfort, he proved us wrong. He went up until, obviously his first draft, he leaned into premium positions in the first 3 rounds, and then he went with like a projecty, guard, Swiss Army knife offensive lineman, and a tight end 2.
You know what though? It's a John Lynch, Kyle Shanahan type of move where I could see them doing this as well. And that's kind of what gave me a little bit of hope. And I think he's going to start over Elijah Higgins. The more I thought about it, Higgins to me is on obvious passing downs. What do the Cardinals love to do on the first 2 downs? They love to run the football. What do the Cardinals want to do in the red zone? They want to run the football. So I think he plays more than Higgins, which, okay, he needs to. Then can he elevate himself to be, or when we're in the red zone and we're not running it, do you have a role in the passing game? If the answer is no, that's a problem. If the answer is yes, and he's catching a handful of touchdowns, and he's a compliment to Trey McBride, and it's not so obvious what the Cardinals are doing every time he comes on the field, then it's worth the pick. But if it's just a 6th offensive lineman, a 3rd tackle, which I don't think it will be because he's so damn athletic, we'll have some problems. But listen, I can't lie and say it's one of the most fascinating storylines entering training camp easily now.
And it's crazy. You said he's the next Gronk Juszczyk. It's unbelievable.
Don't talk. Read the next super chat. This is from Ray 999. Great stuff, gentlemen. My bro-in-law Jeff and I had a blast at the draft party. Good to see you, Ray, my friend. Can't wait for the next one. We've already been given confirmation by the higher ups, Ray. We're going to double our capacity size for our draft party. So anybody, unfortunately, that could not make it due to capacity, I know we sold out in a quick amount of time, which we appreciate. It will be bigger and better next year. But it was a banner night for this podcast and this program on Thursday. Thank you so much for everybody who came out.
It was blown away. And next venue, probably like the vacant Glendale Arena out there. Is that what we're doing?
Just across the street from where the Cardinals hold their draft party.
That's the Diamond Arena. Is that what it is? Out there in Glendale?
Isn't it Gila River?
It used to be at one point. I don't know. But
you're asking
that's the next venue. That's what we're looking for.
Let's worry about this when we worry about it. Let's focus
on one more pick in 32nd overall.
I want to hoist a Lombardi this year.
I'm over talking about future drafts, baby. We came on this show last year and we were doing mock drafts in MHJ. Not this year. We're talking about playoffs this year. Let's go.
How about Richard, $4.99 super chat? Thank you to Johnny for Max Melton tweet, allowing me to tweet a pic of my daughter. Totally made my day. You are awesome.
Oh, yeah. So Max Melton there was a promotional thing he did for Rutgers in a Darth Vader helmet. And then Richard responded with his daughter in a Cardinal jersey with a Darth Vader helmet on.
Oh, nice.
Retweet it. It's great. Go check it out on my Twitter. We appreciate you, Richard. we're big Star Wars people in my house. I'm looking at a Darth Vader helmet right now over my computer. So we're all on the same page, except for Bo. He's the worst.
Let's keep it going here. I'm gonna have to check out that tweet. Our guys, people have been asking about our resident Chargers fan.
Charles,
here's our welfare check on Charlie Sinclair. Who needs Maserati Marv when you can have Lambo Lad? Drafting then a wide receiver was a better process if it was Malik than OT. No one touching Justin.
Charles, Joe Alt was one of my favorite players in this draft. The two players that Bo and I highlighted this fall for the Cardinals were Joe Alt, Marvin Harrison Jr. So it's a nice consolation prize for the people that wanted Marvin. And if you believe reports now, Schefter was saying that Giants wanted Joe Alt over Neighbors. So yeah. I think you're in really good shape. The Lad McConkey thing, good luck to you. He's not my favorite player, but I trust Jim Harbaugh more than just about anyone coaching a football team. So you'll be in good shape.
Yeah, I don't mind it.
I like the value of it. I told you I didn't think he should have been a first-round pick, but if you could get him early in that second.
You're a lad's lad. Charlie following this one up with back-to-back super chats, $4.99. Seriously, though, I'm glad our GMs who don't draft projects anymore or guys from the University of Antarctica guys who contribute now, no doubt about it. Telesco's gone, Kime's gone are the redshirt years of first-round draft picks and not picking up fifth-year options. It's premium positions, it's premium players, guys that are going to contribute right away. Charlie, all the best to you. I'm glad to see you here in the first show after the draft, that you're not just going away to make sure that we weren't going to fumble the Marv bag. And it's great to have you along for the ride.
I'm excited for the Joe Alt Darius Robinson matchup here. Chargers Cardinals
happening this season.
That'll be a good one. Ryan Carly, $2. Draft like hitting 100 tickets Sharks/Surfer game PPP. Not sure what that means. Hopefully it's a good thing.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm not hip with the kids lingo, but I'm gonna take that as maybe hitting a 21 in Vegas on hitting a blackjack, maybe, Ryan. But we appreciate it. If you want to give
Damon, you got that one? Does that make sense?
If
You're
Damon
not a gamer, right?
Yeah, if Damon can't.
I'm trying.
Decipher.
I don't know.
We're in trouble.
Well, we appreciate it, Ryan. We'll take that compliment, no doubt about it.
Chaz is back, $1.99. Howdy, folks. It's a beautiful MHJ day. It sure is. Mm-hmm. Bo and I are going to talk about what number MHJ should wear. And he's obviously our favorite pick of the draft. We're going to break down our other top 3 favorite picks from this draft class, including who's trending up and trending, I don't want to say down for the Cardinals, but might be in a little bit of trouble. But you're not going to be in trouble as long as you're with our friends at BetMGM. BetMGM first bet offer, $1,500. Hello, draft season's over. It makes me sad, as is the NBA season for our precious Phoenix Suns. But Diamondbacks are in full swing, and you can make big money with the Grand Slam Jackpot promotion every single Friday, Saturday, and Sunday through the MLB season. Again, introducing MLB's Grand Slam Jackpot, a weekly bet and promotion. Place $10 on any wager to hit a home run during the weekend, Friday through Sunday. If that player hits a grand slam on that day, you can win up to $50K in daily prizes or share those prizes with every other winning bettor. Again, super easy, but you got to sign up with BetMGM Sportsbook, and you got to use the bonus code PHNX. Check them out at betmgm.com. Sign up and deposit at least $10 in your newly created BetMGM Sportsbook account. Place your first wager and receive up to $1,500 back in bonus bets if that bet loses. If your bet does lose, your bonus bets will be available once your initial wager has settled. Again, sign up for BetMGM. Use the bonus code PHNX. Place your first BetMGM Sportsbook wager up on the mobile app, at least $10. So $10 you lose, you get $10 in bonus bets, $1,500 back if you bet $1,500. So bet wisely. Check out the show notes for full details. Now listen to our guy Shane Diefenbach talk about it in the disclaimer.
Bets expire in 7 days. One new customer offer only. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Available in the U.S. Call 877-8-HOPE-NY 467-369 New York. Call 1-800-327-5050 Massachusetts. 21 plus only. Please gamble responsibly. Call 1-800-NEXT-STEP Arizona. 1-800-BETS-OFF Iowa. 1-800-981-0023 Puerto Rico. First bet offer for new customers only. Subject to eligibility requirements. Bonus bets are non-withdrawable. In partnership with Kansas Crossing Casino and Hotel. See BetMGM.com for terms. U.S. promotional offers not available in New York, Nevada, North Carolina, Ontario, or Puerto Rico.
Last week at this time, just the anticipation for the NFL draft. It was out of control. This week, the anticipation for my butcher box to be delivered, that's what I can't wait for this week. It's premium meat, premium cuts from Butcher Box, deals that are good and hard to come by at the grocery store. Actually, I was slumming it in the grocery store yesterday, buying some beef I was going to throw on my grill and grill up. It's always pretty good, but when it's Butcher Box, it's elite. You got to check out what's going on with Butcher Box. Can't wait to share with you what they're sending me. I got the package of beef, poultry, pork chops. Can't wait for that. Plus, they also do seafood, and it's 100% grass-fed beef, free-range organic chicken, pork raised, crate-free, and wild-caught seafood. It's humanely raised, no antibiotics, and no added hormones, and it's delivered right to your doorstep. Free shipping. Always curated and customized box plans, and it's incredible value like many of the Arizona Cardinals draft picks. Butcher Box is offering our listeners, our viewers, an amazing offer where new users get free meat plus $20 off your first box. Join today using the link butcherbox.com/PHNX. Use the code PHNX and receive an exclusive offer today before the time runs out. So that's butcherbox.com/PHNX, promo code PHNX.
You all are our favorites here in the chat. Drop a like on this video, over 600. Let's get this video to 500 likes today. Speaking of favorites, it's time to break down who Bo and I thought our favorite picks in the draft. Not necessarily who's going to be the best, but some of our favorite picks. And I will be honest, when I saw your list compared to mine, I felt like I cheated slightly because I went chalk after MHJ. We weren't allowed to pick Marvin Harrison Jr. on our favorites list, Bo. Let's go ahead and put it on the screen. I just went with the next three picks, and I promise you it just worked out this way. We talked about my love affair with Darius Robinson. The more I found out about Max Melton, the more that had Jonathan Gannon's fingerprints and DNA all over it. When I saw Max Melton celebrate with his family, guy looks like a dog, ready to compete. And then, of course, Trey Benson. I mean, that was my favorite pick in general on day two. The physicality he's going to impose opposite James Conner. I just really like what the Cardinals did after Marvin Harrison Jr. It's not a knock on the rest of their picks, Bo, but I just thought they got extreme talent. Those are three starters eventually. I mean, Robinson and Melton are going to start right away, and Trey Benson's going to start, you would assume, at times this year and in 2025. So this is why the Cardinals got an A draft, because outside of Marvin Harrison Jr., you can see the immediate impact coming from these early picks.
Yeah, absolutely. And Max Melton is the one player that we both had on our list. I think it was one guy that we couldn't avoid. You know, it was somehow a polarizing pick when it happened. Some of the fan base thought it was a reach, and who they passed out of drafting at 35th overall and traded down to select Melton in the 40s there, where you look at his game and how he can fit into Jonathan Gannon and Nick Rawlins' scheme. And I'll talk to Nick on Wednesday when he holds his post-draft press conference and how Melton fits in. But also, you know, he's after your own heart, Johnny, by wearing that Darth Vader mask. I mean,
love it.
He was just pandering just to you and your fellow nerds. But I like his size, sub 440, just as athletic as they come. Wasn't he the guy with the 40.5-inch vert?
Yeah.
Do you like that? Do you just like an absolute just athlete out there that can play the corner position and play opposite, Murphy Bunting? It's going to be immediate upgrade at the cornerback position. And then I really like Taylor Demerson, like just coming out of Texas Tech, a ball hawking safety, a guy that down the road could potentially start for this team, but also adds depth. Like we saw last season, Jalen Thompson and Budda Baker both missed time, and you were filling it in with, admirably by Kayvon Wallace and Shashere. But I think you got a guy immediately in Taylor Demerson that can start into that role and do some of the things that both Budda and JT do, like at a rookie 5th round level. But they got him at a 4th round level. I really like him coming out of Texas Tech. And then I've got Christian Jones down here as my player 3. He was a 5th round pick, and Daniel Jeremiah had him as a top 60 player. Mel Kiper had him as a top 100 player, and the Arizona Cardinals got him at 162, 163 is unreal value there for a guy that Monti Ossenfort at the end of training camp flipped Josh Jones to the Houston Texans for a 5th round pick, and everybody was up in arms. But what he did in getting Christian Jones in here was he got a younger, more controllable player with more upside than Josh Jones, who proved to be the guy who we thought he was, right? At the best, a swing tackle, where I think Christian Jones comes in, being swing tackle potential already with starting potential down the line. That's why I've got him on my list as one of my 3 favorite Cardinal draft picks.
Yeah, it was a great tweet by you earlier today. I didn't put two and two together that that's where the pick it came from. And we were tipped off early in this draft process that, like, if it wasn't going to be Marvin, man, they really wanted to take advantage of this offensive line class. And I think they did, but like early, like a premier offensive lineman, one in the top 20 to 25 picks, right? And the board didn't fall that way. They had to take Marvin for obvious reasons. And then there wasn't a tackle of note that could be available at 27. Plus they needed a defensive tackle. Like, you weren't going to fill all your needs, although they got close in a singular draft. But yeah, the player that I didn't include that I would have was Christian Jones. I thought that was one of my favorite picks on day 3, somebody that 48 starts at the University of Texas, somebody that, I mean, we just talked to Illinois' offensive coordinator, and you talk to Coach Lunney, and it's like Christian Jones fits that mindset the same with, Isaiah Adams and Tip Reiman. I mean, they all have the same characteristics. Like, really, outside of Paris, who is as polished of a tackle, I think, entering this year, Pro Bowl caliber season as a pass and run blocker, everybody else in this group, it's like we are a run first system in Arizona. Adams, Reiman, Christian Jones, right? We know what Yelda Froholt does well. Will Hernandez can do a little bit of both, and Jonah Williams has his strengths, but it's like the pipeline players that they are trying to implement, they are not finesse players. Like, they are players that you can plug in and get you 3 yards in a cloud of dust, so to speak. Like, that gets you fired up, because I've seen so many sloppy tackles and sloppy offensive linemen that this team has drafted, not only under Steve Keim, but Rod Graves included. It's like, day 3 tackle, let's throw them in there. Horrific technique. No starting experience of note. Sometimes they're overweight. Like Christian Jones, everybody said, like, dominated the offseason. Somebody that's overlooked for whatever reason. Top 100 grade. If Daniel Jeremiah had him as a top 60 player on his board. So we're going to talk about it, but Kelvin Beachum, that's a problem. Like, I think they'll carry maybe 4, but if not, like, Christian Jones can get the benefit of the doubt. He's on a cheap 4-year rookie contract. Yeah. If he puts together a competent training camp and mini camp, that could be all she wrote.
Yeah. Look, I like what Nico Hoffman says. Chris Braswell of Alabama said that Jones was his toughest matchup this season when Bama took on Texas. So, I mean, that's fantastic insight there. But when you remember what was coming out of Cards camp when they drafted Josh Jones, what was it, 72nd overall, and Steve Keim was like, we had him rated as a first-round pick, and that got the fan base hype, and then Josh Jones turned into who he was. But if that's, what Chris Jones turns into as a 5th-round pick, that's fine.
Yeah.
But when you're trying to pawn him off as something he's not, but I think he's somebody that they were able to swoop in and take advantage of him tumbling down draft boards for some reason. And we'll get more insight, from Petzing tomorrow and his thoughts on the Texas tackle.
I love this comment here. Smart ass Lou T. Johnny also loves Homer Simpson, Michael Scott, vanilla ice cream, and sunny days because my list was so chalk. I'll take that insult. I put that list together knowing, like, this is going to get pushed back. I like the early picks. I think the early picks slapped, as the kids say. Slap it up, baby. And I also looked at Lou T. Marvin is young. He's 21. He'll be 22 during the season. Everybody else, for the most part, Darius is 22, will be 23, are older. What does that tell you? They're ready to play. Yeah. They're ready to play as rookies. There are no redshirt seasons. First of all, the Cardinals need them to play because of the state of this roster. Don't you just, like, love a team that embraces young players? Like, Dante Stills is a known commodity. He was a 6th-round pick last year. Michael Wilson, right? Keitrell Clark. We know what these guys were and what they could potentially become. Garrett Williams. If you don't think this whole rookie class, we said it after the post-draft last year, Bo, these rookies are going to get the benefit of the doubt, especially over lingering Keim guys. They are going to come in cheap and experienced and hungry for a team that won 4 games, albeit without their quarterback. That's good news. If you're a rookie in this class, you have a role. As my co-host says, if you're active on game day, you will have a role. There are no throwaway picks in a Monti Ossenfort draft. We can say that now unequivocally through 2 drafts.
Yeah. The Arizona Cardinals, their roster just kind of punched the numbers before the draft, on average 25.3 years of age. And that includes a 39-year-old Matt Prater, who's a place kicker. And they've only really got 2 players over 30 that are position players, and Calvin Beachum at 34, and then Chris Moore, who they signed as a depth piece to a wide receiver room. So they are relatively young. So to add some older young players, it's fine, right? You're not trying to get that much younger anywhere. You don't want to be that inexperienced. To Johnny's point, to get somebody in that's ready to play, especially in year 2 of a rebuild, is exactly what you need as an organization.
Yeah, it's just all these guys are going to be put in a position like Michael Wilson was last year. Just go out and battle and win a roster spot. Go achieve a starting spot on the depth chart opposite Hollywood Brown. Like that's what Michael Wilson did. It's why Michael Wilson, who, by the way, joined us Thursday, Gila River Resorts and Casinos, fantastic. Hope you saw our clips on Twitter. But Michael, he talked about the impact of this draft class, and even after Marvin Harrison Jr., it's like we're just a better team now. Yeah. And I think that's the general consensus after this draft. Grades are great, and you want to be highlighted for the talent you're bringing in. But at the end of the day, it's just like, look at the Cardinals roster, the infusion of talent, the experience that's coming back, and then certainly Kyler Murray with a 4th-place schedule. How the hell is this team only projected to win 6.5 games in Vegas?
It's crazy. It remains the number.
They won 4 games last year with one of the despite a 4th-place schedule, hardest strength of schedules in the NFL. They should have gone 500 with Kyler Murray. Thank goodness they didn't. Prater statue. And now this year, their schedule is the 9th easiest in the NFL. Kyler Murray is healthy. They've added Marvin Harrison Jr., and people think they're only going to win 2 more games than last year's team? That's a joke. It's good. Bet the over. Make some money with our friends at BetMGM, but I'll just make it. That's my BetMGM pick of the week. Cardinals over right now. Bet it 6.5. Get it while you can, because I guarantee you, when people start coming to training camp and they see the preseason, it's like, shit, this team, they look pretty good. And I look over at Seattle, it's like, oh, Pete Carroll's gone. Geno Smith's still there. There are going to be people jumping on Arizona's bandwagon as soon as July.
Yeah, they're going to have to take care of some business in division. That's going to be a big deciding factor in where they want to go this season. Do they want to be, a playoff team, or do they want to be on the outside looking in? Pete Prisco of CBS Sports said this is a playoff team. Did you see his clip? Mm-hmm. Pete Prisco, proud ASU Sun Devil alum. He was out there pounding the table for the Arizona Cardinals. Illini McGee saying Bears 8.5. Is that true? I'm on that too. I don't think it's as foolish as it was last year.
Yeah, the NFC's just.
I believe in Caleb Williams at the quarterback position more so than.
Well, their roster's stacked. Let's be real. We can make fun of the Bears because of Justin Fields last year, but that team's good. We saw it. Their defense is good. They added Rome Odunze and Keenan Allen to DJ Moore. Their offensive line was solid. The Bears are going to be in the playoffs next year.
Pass catching running back too. And
the Bears they're stacked. Good for the Bears. Let's get back to some of these super chats. Topic 64, $4.99. Chargers thought they were going to get MHJ laugh crying emoji. We hit them with the old bait and switch. Topic 64. A lot of us got hit with the bait and switch, and I'm happy to say that, you know what? I'm glad I wasn't right about the trade down prediction and speculation. I did have in my final mock at GoPHNX.com that the Cardinals were going to take Marvin Harrison Jr. And, we haven't had too much time to digest it because we were thrust back into draft coverage. But, I mean, it's going to be the most impactful draft pick since Kyler Murray. I have no problem or doubt in my mind saying that.
It's still surreal to think of Marvin Harrison Jr. wearing an Arizona Cardinals uniform. Yes. That he's there on Friday. He's at the Suns game before their season came to an end, and a playoff game already taken in and kind of entrenching himself in the Valley. You love to see it, and can't wait to see him on the playing field, on the practice field, which we're going to get our first glimpse on May 10th when rookies attend rookie minicamp. Adam H, 999. Yo, shout out to you guys for introducing me to Darius Robinson in Vegas. I love that pick. I wouldn't have known much about him. Seems like a hungry dog that is a class act.
I was trying to get people to come on the show. That's what you do. You go on, you try to talk to people's handlers, and you're running around. And I got a text message from Bo. He's like, we got to run back to the setup. We got an interview. I'm like, oh, awesome. And I get back to the interview, and I'm 5'6.5", as many of you saw at the draft party. And here comes somebody who legitimately is
do you like that, by the way?
Double my size, at Super Bowl week, with a huge smile on his face, and his hand engulfed my baby hand. And he couldn't have been a nicer person. Would have given us all the time in the world.
Yeah.
It's the only prospect on set they re-interviewed during draft season, and he's an Arizona Cardinal. He was picked 27th overall. That's poetic justice, and I tell this story all the time. I'm going to tell it again. At the end of the year, you look at that defensive line and that defensive front seven in the Cardinal locker room. They did not have NFL caliber defensive linemen playing for them. They had practice squad guys. They had third string, four stringers. He is their most talented defensive anything on their line, edge rusher included, with respect to B.J. Ojulari and Zaven Collins. He's it. So you can't pick a better guy, an ambassador to build around now.
Loso, could we still sign a star receiver? Got him. Already got him. Drafted him.
Selfish. Greedy.
Fourth overall. A nice complimentary unit, too. I mean, it's kind of outside the norm, I think, of what the organization is going to want to do. You don't have to go out there and just throw money at a wide receiver. You've got one controllable for the next 4 to 5 years. Hopefully, Marv's pushing the organization to become a wide receiver on his first year to get signed kind of like a quarterback a couple of years early. But yeah, they ain't going out. I think they're fully content with the wide receiver room. You know, they added Weaver after adding Palmer later in that draft. Weaver out of Colorado.
Weaver's nice.
Right. You've already got, Chris Moore, who's a depth piece as well, but your starting wide receiver room, I think Kyler Murray's excited to move forward with them and juice to get started with Marv, Michael Wilson, Greg Dortch, and then Trey McBride as his tight end.
So we did 100 mock drafts this draft season. We were incorrect. We thought the fourth receiver was going to come in the top 100. You know who their fourth receiver is? It's a tight end. They're going to play heavy smash mouth football with McBride, Higgins, and this Redmond kid. That's their preference. They don't want to have more than 3 wide receivers on the field. So if you want to question the depth, because Michael Wilson's been nicked up and Dortch has never done it over 17 games, I'm fine with that. But their best case scenario is what they got. And that's a huge coup for Greg Dortch, by the way. Great weekend for Greg.
I think with Weaver signing undrafted rookie free agent, they only had 3 because they had 12 draft picks.
Right.
So 15 new players to the organization over the last couple of days. But Weaver, you see him play a lot of Z, and then I think Palmer can play Z. So if you need some depth behind Michael Wilson, you draft, you're gonna sign and develop. So it's exciting, and it's not like you're just kicking the tires on some veteran that's been around the block and hasn't been truly productive. Patrick T, $10 super chat. Thanks, Patrick T. That's very generous, $10.
Patrick.
Been really coming around on tip. Still too high for a pick, but it's hard to deny that he will be an ass kicker in the run game, especially in the red zone and short yardage where we struggled.
Perfectly put. Echo that 100%. He's going to help the team.
I want to put that on a t-shirt for Johnny, and he can just walk around. It's like, here's my opinion. You got any questions? Here it is.
That's I echo.
He's going to be an ass kicker in the run game. Nobody denied that. Red zone, short yardage, that's where he'll thrive. But for the taste of this podcast, for the most part, feel like it was 82 is a little too rich.
About 20 to 30 picks too high. And if he hits, nobody cares. So
right.
Ray from 499, had a great time. Look at that. Ray and Bo Brock in the photo. Had a great time.
Right.
At the draft party, my guys. We hold the line, fellas. You rock. Thank you, Ray. It's great to see you. Unfortunately, Bo is in the photo and I am not, but we'll let that slide for now.
What's crazy about the suit jackets is that Bo sent those to me and Johnny completely serious. And me and Johnny were like, yeah, this is funny. But Bo was like, this is just the fit that I want to wear.
Oh, yeah.
On draft night. He's just he proved it with that mirror selfie, too. I think.
Mine's already shipped and ready to go back to Amazon.
Yeah, did you see?
Mine's already back.
Nice.
Did you see that I kind of became a little bit of a meme because of my Zach Wilson parody on draft?
Diamondback fans are thirsty for Bo. Let's be real. In the PHNX Diamondbacks Discord.
Yeah. Joshua, 249. Is that pounds? Is that what it is? Euros. All right. Thank you, Joshua. Monty fumbled on the elite cornerback prospects. Really? You think passing on Kool-Aid or passing on Cooper DeJean, who's going to be a solid slot, I would bet. I think that Cooper DeJean could thrive at the nickel corner position. You got Garrett Williams already on your roster.
Joshua, so put the Kool-Aid down. Put the Kool-Aid down.
I'm going to stand by it. No Max Melton slander on this podcast.
Joshua, I'm telling you right now, they love him. It's their preference. I got that wrong. I thought they were going to take DeJean at 35. They stole a third rounder, and they got what they think is a number one corner. And he has the attributes. I saw a lot of people, by the way, saying, he's got to play slot. Go look at his PFF numbers. Most of his reps are at outside cornerback. Yeah. He's going to be an outside cornerback. At 6'1", Garrett Williams can play slot.
Talking about, like, if they wanted, if they had more than enough, they had ample opportunity to move Garrett Williams out. They kept him there. They drafted Garrett Williams because Jonathan Gannon views the slot corner position as a starting position, and it was the first one he wanted to check off last year's draft, even over outside corner. And then Jonathan Gannon wanted an outside corner. And who's he identify? Melton. I need to hear the conversation in that war room when Monti Ossenfort's sitting there. He has every opportunity to even just take Melton at 35, and he trades out. I mean, I'm sure there's an unrelenting trust between head coach and GM to get him his guy, but to have to sweat that out.
But look what they got in return, though. I mean, I couldn't believe the compensation.
Oh,
ended up being tip, which, we had a conversation about. But, like, the value, the Falcons slander, first of all, they picked the right team to trade with, too. The Falcons were just... Falcons tried to get good mojo by trading up for the kid from Clemson, which, by the way, was a reach in and of itself. But they're like, you know what? There's a team that we can pick on that foolishly took Michael Penix. Let's trade with them. Let's see what they'll give us. And they got a top 80 pick, and they still got their guy. That's when Monty's in his bag. That's when he's cooking at the highest level.
Yep. So thank you for the super chat, Josh. We just disagree here, but it's fair. That's what we do here. We have debate. It's fun.
MP $1.99. Bear down. I can't wait for Bears Cardinals this year. Hopefully.
I'm sorry. We need to laugh at MP. He was one of the guys that was saying that they were going to keep Justin and draft Marv number 1. And this whole time,
Damon's keeping
a bunch of sneaker chats about it. We have to laugh at him. I'm sorry. Now he's got the Caleb, little avatar right there.
MP, don't be one of those Justin Fields fanboys that now is just.
Oh, no.
There's a grace. Is the grace period over for Justin Fields? Departure? Like, do you feel comfortable rocking that 18 now?
It's not too soon. Is everybody all right with that? Did you guys have a discussion about that?
Do you remember part of the reason draft season is officially dead and buried is because Justin Fields truthers thought they were getting Marvin 1 of 1. Remember all this shit that we get tweeted out, like the Black Monday, like as people were getting fired, Bear fans were like, I can't believe we're going to pair Justin Fields with Marvin Harrison Jr. How'd that work out? Got a 6th-round pick for Justin Fields.
They got a done thing.
They had a nice offseason. We can still laugh at those people.
But their fans were acting ridiculous.
It was crazy. It was legitimately insane.
Yeah. When you looked at the Falcons going and taking 8th overall, they take Michael Penix, and they could have gotten Justin Fields for nothing, for a ham sandwich.
They're all toast in about 18 months. Those people are in trouble. Jay the Goat, $1.99. My guy, got to watch Marv get drafted in Detroit. Was hyped. Jay the Goat, man. I hope you had a great time at the draft in Michigan, my friend.
Yeah, that's fantastic. I saw the whole Cardinals contingent. I saw the selfie with Marv. Are you in the background, JD the Goat? Let us know. Shares the same name as the 2nd overall pick in the NFL draft. JD the Goat. We appreciate you watching, listening. Joey Chairs. Is that what it is? Joey Chairs?
Yeah.
Time to start the Prater statue fund. Completely agree. Let's get that going.
So the Cardinals had Prater's jersey on display at the Tempe facility, and it almost looked like it was a monument. Do you think that was by accident?
It was like you could see it from the street. You could see it from Hardy as you drive down in Tempe. It was like glowing. It's like a memorial. It's like the man didn't die, even though he did sacrifice.
Died for our sins. Died for our Marvin sins. It's pretty wild. Go watch those replays. The Cardinals dominated the Seahawks that whole game, and then something happened. Yeah, something happened those final 2 minutes where the defense gave up a touchdown, and then Prater was just like, "Oops, I'm gonna just miss." He missed 2 field goals in a row all year.
Oh no, the defense was kicking ass the entire second half. I think I believe Gino and the offense they had 4 straight punts, and then Prater goes out and he's gonna kick to make it a 10-point game, a 2-possession game. Yoink. And the next thing you know, Gino leads this easy through Swiss cheese drive down the field and they go up.
It wasn't legitimately thrown, but we're going to look back on that if Marvin's a Hall of Famer and be like, that is one of the greatest involuntary tank jobs of all time from this franchise. This franchise that in my lifetime when I was a kid was the king of winning meaningless week 17 games, week 16 games. They did that on the rag. So Joey, yes, we'll get.
Do you think he gets like any use of the PJ from Bidwell he wants?
He's been a great signing too. So like no one can give him shit. Like really, he helped the franchise that day indirectly. David Jenkins, $1.99, especially because Kyler played well that day. When do I become a friend of the program? You are right now. You're ingratiated, my friend. David Jenkins, friend of the program, $1.99.
I love that beautiful picture too in the background, that Arizona sky. It's beautiful. Always a forever friend of the program, David Jenkins. There you go. Johnny is tipping and he's cheersing his glass of iced
mud
coffee.
Water. Yeah, everybody always calls it mud water.
Richard, do you know what 3 undrafted rookies they signed? Yeah, they signed them today, including Zay Weaver from he was part of the Louis baggage that Deion Sanders brought into Colorado. They also added
I watched a lot of him last year. He was pretty good.
Good.
He was their Colorado's #1 receiver. I was a little bit shocked throughout draft season to see that he was going to be an undrafted guy because that was kind of his consensus. But he was a really good player for Colorado last year. Shadur, I mean, he threw it all over the field, and Weaver was by far his #1 target. So,
yeah, good addition in Zay Weaver, over 6 feet at the wide receiver position, which is that's Monty swiping right. That's what he does as far as wideouts. It's a couple of requirements. Miles Murphy, the defensive line player from North Carolina, 6'4", 309, played in 52 games of the last 4 seasons at UNC, 38 starts, 17 tackles for a loss, 7 sacks. He swatted down 4 passes. So decent player there. And then a long snapper, Shimko. They signed Joe Shimko. Seems like a fake name, but he's a long snapper that's going to be in competition for Aaron Brewer.
That's a created player in Madden. That's a created player. That's not a real player. That's not a real human being.
He's a long snapper from NC State. So 62 games over the last 5 seasons. He was the Patrick Manley Award following the 2023 seasons. What's the nation's top long snapper? It's prestigious. Were you a voter for that?
Me?
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
I only vote on real things. I'll vote right now and make Gila River Resorts and Casinos the top casino in the state of Arizona, however, because I don't know if you were there. I know a lot of people Thursday night's draft party had never been to Gila River Resorts and Casinos, and they will certainly be coming back. And the people that I talked to, Bo and Damon, that stayed the night, first-class experience they will not forget. That's Gila River Resorts and Casinos at Wild Horse Pass. They've got the state-of-the-art gaming floor with over 800 slot machines. I can't tell you how many people did our draft party, hung out, and then immediately hit the floor. Like, had a blast, 15 blackjack tables, live table games, not to mention Arizona's largest casino sports book. I hope people stuck around Friday and Saturday. All those draft props up for grabs. And speaking of up for grabs, how about dining ranging from upscale to approachable? Check out the rooftop restaurant, Prime Shula Steakhouse, or you can grab a cocktail and just hang out by the pool. It's a great time. It's pool season here in Arizona. Take a weekend. You live here in the desert. How about a Friday, Saturday, Gila River Resorts and Casinos at Wild Horse Pass? You will not be sorry that you did. Head to Gila River Resorts and Casinos.com. Play at Gila.com for more information. I cannot wait to get back, Bo, to Gila River Resorts and Casinos at Wild Horse Pass.
They showed us what the next level was all about. Everybody try to guess what I'm describing here. Soft, bouncy, delicious. What are we talking about here?
I'm uncomfortable already with
the OGs.
That's right. Come on, Johnny, get your mind out of the gutter. It's an OG's cannabis gummy.
Whoopsies.
Yeah, you sicko. Fruit creams. How about the sleep time gummies? Don't miss out on any of this. You got to check out their full product line. Fantastic. How about their orange creamsicle? How about their strawberries and cream? They got something for everybody. OG's does. Find out more, ogsbrands.com. Follow them on your socials as well and find them in your local dispensary. Got tough time getting to sleep? Well, their sleep time gummy, which is aquaberry flavored, it's going to help get you to sleep and keep you to sleep. Doesn't mean you're just going to doze off and then you're going to hear some sort of noise in the house and you're going to be up for the next couple hours thinking somebody's going to walk in your room and murder you. No longer. You're going to have that sleep time gummy, put you to sleep, keep you asleep. Check out the full product line, ogsbrands.com, at ogsbrands on the socials, and of course your local dispensary. Got to be 21 years or older.
So we did it during the season. We're going to bring it back now. It's trending up, trending down post-draft for our sweet baby Arizona Cardinals. Bo, let's get started with trending up here on a football Monday. How about the defensive tackle room? The infusion of not only Darius Robinson, but Justin Jones, Bilal Powell, the inclusion of some big heavies to go along with Dante Stills. I posted on Twitter the stark difference between defensive tackle room to end the season and to start the preferably 2024 season, led by the big man out of Missouri. And I get it. He's going to play DN. He's going to play defensive tackle. But that room in general got a whole lot heavier in the best possible way with some players that can really hopefully push around the likes of San Francisco, Seattle, and the LA Rams, Bo.
Yeah, bigger, stronger, faster, and also guys who are available. The two guys they signed in free agency, and Justin Jones and Bilal Nichols, as you mentioned, they've had kind of a little Iron Man streak for the last 2 to 4 seasons. Jones hasn't missed a game in the last 2 seasons. Nichols hasn't missed a game in the last 4 seasons. You got, of course, the work ethic on full display from the man himself, Darius Robinson. He just looks like he's chiseled out of stone there, just as broad as they come. But you've seen the athleticism, the violence, the versatility. The defensive line is in unbelievable. It's a stark contrast to where it was at this time last year, where you and I are like, I don't know any of these guys at this position outside of the holdovers. At that time, it was Rashard Lawrence and Leki Fotu. Now you got some guys that can get in there, rotate, and make an impact.
The Cardinals' first 3 picks at defensive back this draft, 2 corners and a safety, had a combined 12 takeaways, interceptions this college football season. The defensive back room had a facelift. And while it might not be good for a couple late draft picks of 2023, the ceiling, and we talked about it, Sean Murphy-Bunting comes over, Max Melton. They added a couple more defensive backs, Bo, that you've outlined. It's a group now. Will they ever have a true number 1 corner? I hope so. But at the same time, it's not a room that's a liability anymore. It's a room now that's got some promise to take the football away, especially with an offense that is going to be the strength of the team.
Yeah, and that's what their biggest key is going to be here in year 2 under Rollis and Gannon is getting off the field and getting the ball into this offense that has so much. The possibilities are endless. When it was top 10 with Kyler coming back, and then the addition of Marvin, like seems like you felt like you shored up your offensive line. But I saw in the chat like this defensive backs room with Murphy-Bunting and Melton would be regarded as one of the worst in the league, and albeit that might be true. Like you're going to have some people like who's the guy for ESPN, Mike Clay always does like the position rankings, right? And he's got the numbers and he's got it in green and red and stuff like that. And it might come out of the gates as an unknown, but what we know about Jonathan Gannon is he's elevated a lot of guys who are below average ability and made them, players at the NFL level, whether it's Reed Blankenship or Avonte Maddox, who was the player that was it Marcus Epps that got a big deal from the Vegas Raiders. It's like guys you hadn't heard of. And it's not just the cornerback position, but primarily the cornerback position. Kenny Moore wasn't thought of anything as an option.
Start somewhere.
Right. You got to start somewhere. And when you got the tools that Max Melton and Elijah Jones have coming at Boston College, and you've got somebody who's a solid vet, and Sean Murphy-Bunting, who's been through it all at the NFL level, I think that they've got a lot better room with better depth, and they're going to be in position to take the ball away even more. And if you get any of that on top of it at how they were trending last year, that's going to turn into winning football games.
I mean, there are 4 defensive backs. Their top 4 defensive backs were all top 100 picks. Garrett Williams, Sean Murphy-Bunting was a 2nd-round pick out of Tampa once upon a time. And then the 2 DBs they took were both taken on Friday.
Yeah.
Like Elijah Jones and Max Melton have elite athleticism. Max Melton, to me, is a CB1 in training. So again, if all of them just end up number 2 and 3 corners, that's a good problem to have. And then eventually you could go get a Patrick Surtain-esque player in the 1st round. But like people acting like the Cardinals started Keitrell Clark and Starling Thomas at corner last year.
Marco Willison for 11 games.
Come on.
It was terrible. And you've got like people, I mean, in the chat saying like, just because you think they're going to be good, like it's a difference, because the opinion is Monti Ossenfort thinks they're going to be good, because Monti Ossenfort takes the tape, whether it's at Rutgers or Boston College or playing for the Tennessee Titans last year or for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and he marries it with the scheme. And when we talked to Sean Murphy Bunting, like we did this offseason, and he said, I love this organization because a few conversations I've had with them is they see in me what I see in myself.
Right.
And how they can maximize this guy's skill set. And I think that that's so important. And that's what we heard early on. The very little we knew at the time about Monti Ossenfort is he has the ability to go out and find players that match the scheme. It's not, hey, we're going to go out and take the best player because the name notoriety and what his NFL resume tells us. We're going to take the guy that I see on tape that fits this coach's scheme and how I think it's going to be a good match.
Yeah, they're speaking the same language. And speaking of language here, this offensive depth chart is my love language now. The Arizona Cardinals star power now on trending up. Let's look at this, Damon, if we could. This is number 3 on trending up, and it's by far the weaponry for the Cardinals offense. So dating back to last year when we ended the season, it was James Conner, Michael Wilson, Trey McBride, Greg Dortch. You have since inserted maybe the best running back in the draft, certainly a lot of people in Trey Benson, and then unquestionably the number 1 receiver in the draft to go along with a Pro Bowl running back and a quality receiving core on the rise. You've got a potential Pro Bowl type tight end in Trey McBride, a stud number 2 in Michael Wilson, and then the ultimate chess piece underneath in Greg Dortch. Like, the Cardinals have no excuse offensively. Elijah Higgins coming now into his second year. They drafted, say what you want about Tip Reiman, he's a top 100 third-round tight end. He's going to need to produce. You've got Michael Carter Jr. back into the fold. This offense needs to be a top 10 offense. You have the weapons in place. And I love the philosophy of run first. I think it speaks to their confidence in the offensive line. I think it's the best way to keep Kyler Murray at his stature healthy for 17 games. But points need to be scored. They need to dominate time of possession. Trey Benson in particular is such a surprise in the best possible way, because we didn't know until this point how much they truly valued a running back. And when they took him 66 overall, and you've got people at PFF and ESPN saying this has a chance to be better than the Texas running back, has a chance Trey does to be the best running back in this class. It's like, oh, okay, I see what they're doing. They want to play ball control with their line of scrimmage. They have so many different ways to beat you now. It's not just Trey McBride or bust. When Michael Wilson was out, there are so many facets to this offense. This is going to be Kyler Murray's most efficient NFL season to date, easily. It's
just sweet, sweet music what Monty was able to do with that Trey Benson pick. Not only does he come in an ideal situation with a team, it's scheme and what they like to do, ground and pound it, and really establish the run, and relentless in doing so.
Yeah.
But also he has the ability to learn from a guy like James Conner. And, you know, we see JC and Kyler hanging out of the Suns game, and we talked to Conner at the Super Bowl, and, you know, how excited this team is and looking forward to build off of the end of last season's momentum. And he understands what, you know, I'm sure the Benson selection means, but I don't know if there's a better pro in the league that's going to handle it any better than James Conner. And to have two guys in that running back room, and the complement of Michael Carter, and then DJ Dallas, what he can do on fourth down in special teams, it's one of the most well-rounded running back rooms in the league.
So inevitably with trending up, we do have to get to trending down. And again, not to poo-poo anybody on a football Monday post-draft, but there's a trickle-down effect from this draft and subsequent free agent class. And this is what it's impacting right now. Let's look at trending down for the Arizona Cardinals. The pass rush, the experience, so to speak, the edge pressure. The Cardinals showed you with their picks, outside of Xavier Thomas later in the draft, and then what you can get from Darius Robinson and, you know, as an edge rusher, they're all in with Zaven Collins and B.J. Ojulari. Like, that's it. Those two individuals you would assume are going to start at edge rusher for this team, Bo. And until we see otherwise, like, we have to be skeptical of that. It's the biggest glaring omission from the offseason, and it's the biggest question mark, in my opinion, heading into training camp. The Cardinals have filled seemingly every other need. They've doubled down on corner, defensive tackle. They have offensive line depth out the ass. Where is the edge pressure going to come from? Where is the consistent sacks? Because this team went 7 weeks to end the year with 1 sack A ton of pressure now falls on Ojulari and Zayvon Collins.
No doubt about it. I agree with AZ Oss. Still need an edge rusher 100%, but with that need becomes opportunity for what feels like the status quo outside of Xavier Thomas, the Clemson edge rusher that they got. What was it, in the 6th round, 5th round?
Yeah.
It was one of their
5th round. Yes.
One of their 2 5th-round picks, but a guy that wasn't highly productive, but a ton of opportunity there for Zayvon Collins, BJ Ojulari, Dennis Gardeck, Victor Dumakaji, with the supplemented defensive line, with the improved defensive line, and with the better coverage ability too. So, it's going to be important for those guys to really see an uptick in their numbers, in their production. And if they don't, that's going to be priority one going into the next offseason.
Number 2, Amari DiMercato, again, just a numbers game. I mean, you add DJ Dallas in free agency, who's making the team. He's going to be one of their primary returners. The fact that Michael Carter Jr. was very well established at the end of last year as RB2, and then the aforementioned Trey Benson to go with James Conner. Like you mentioned that on the broadcast, Bo, like you don't think they're going to carry 5 backs. Well, who's the odd man out? DiMercato was on some all-rookie teams, almost averaged 5 yards per carry, is an NFL caliber player. But for Arizona, the roster is night and day from last year. It just doesn't seem like there's a roster spot for him.
Yeah, it's just the numbers are tough. Where he's going to be able to continue to show his worth is in pass pro and on special teams. And if he can force the issue to keep 5th running back, which I just don't think that this organization will do. The 2022 team did, and we saw how that just didn't prove its worth. It's just, unfortunately, circumstance of numbers. So, and then this last one, right, Johnny, 2023 late rounders for the Cardinals.
Yeah, Jonathan Gaines, pick 122. You're on the clock. The Cardinals just drafted a left guard. Clayton Tune, you're on the clock. Desmond Ritter's in town. Keitrell Clark, pick 180. You're on the clock. They drafted 3 DBs this year. Dante Stills really is the only one, feels like has a strong stranglehold on his role, even though they added some defensive linemen. Like, in particular, I know they weren't drafted like from this franchise, but like Starling Thomas and Keitrell Clark are both going to have a fight to make this roster and have a role. And they did a commendable job last year, but the Cardinals made it a point, even though Ossenfort said as much. The board just fell this way. They took a lot of corners. Well, it's going to be a dogfight. It's going to be one of the most interesting dynamics in camp. And then you couple that with John Gaines. They added what I think are 3 caliber starting left guards this offseason. Adams, Evan Brown, and then they brought back Elijah Wilkinson. Where does Jonathan Gaines play? Where does he fit? I hope he's healthy, and I hope he's ready to have a fight here in training camp.
Yeah, I mean, they said they were going to lean on his versatility. It's not just the guard.
He can play center too.
Yeah, it's going to be backing up Yelda Froholt, and it's going to be somebody that they viewed as a future center in the league, more so than like Tristan Colon having to just play where he was needed. Now it's, you're not just going to put guys in positions that they're not necessarily comfortable playing in. Now you've got depth at positions that guys can play at least to some extent at those positions, and flooding the guard position without having to like go throw the bag at somebody like Carolina did. It's probably your best route because there wasn't anybody really worthy of paying that type of money too. So I like the philosophy. I mean, if left guard is going to be your weakest link, it's not ideal, but there are worse problems and bigger positions of need to have than one of your interior guard spots.
Let's get back to some of these super chats here. Oh, for show. $4.99's up, y'all. Are you going to restock that K1 and field shirt? Presumably in the merchandise locker.
This one, right? So here's what I want you to do for sure. I've got a couple of these that I was going to do for a giveaway. I've got a couple of them. I want you to email me, bo@gophnx.com, and email me your size, and we'll hook you up with one of these shirts. Because I don't know if we're going to restock these shirts or not, because we got to make way for some other upcoming shirts from PHNX Cardinals.
Yeah, get the garage ready for a certain Maserati here coming into town. Topic 64, $4.99. We only got room for 53 guys who haven't practiced hard and haven't given an all these years.
Right.
They better get serious. What I will say, topic 64 is like the guys that really fit that build. Isaiah Simmons, they got rid of last time. Like the guys who did make it all year last year. Like they've ingratiated themselves with JG and company. But I think now, instead of effort, it's going to be talent level. Like the talent level floor has been raised on this team. Good hell, it should be. They had 12 draft picks. So they've had 2 free agency classes back to back. I'm with you though. Like they're going to have some hard decisions, and Jesse Luketa, Victor Dumakaji, Dennis Gardeck, like that's going to be a battle. That's going to be an absolute battle. The offensive line depth is going to be a battle. I'm excited though. I'm excited to watch it play out. I'm really excited to watch Desmond Ridder versus Clayton Tune during the preseason. Redbirds 224. I'm a friend of the program, right? You absolutely are. Redbirds 224. Thank you so much for the $2 super chat. We appreciate everybody, by the way, who puts in the super chat. Ultimate's friend of the programs.
No doubt about it. And then our guy Patrick T wrapping us up here. $2. Long snappers finished their streak. Justice for LS.
Their steak.
I'm sorry.
Throwing a little shade at your boy. We'll see if they do. Maybe not all of them do. And depends on how many apps they had. How many sweet apps they had that night.
Before we close out here, I came across something on my Twitter timeline that I just needed to read to you guys.
Okay.
Albert Breer did his Monday morning quarterback article on the inside story of how the Falcons, Vikings, Broncos scouted, ID'd, and drafted their quarterbacks that they got.
Okay.
In that article, Sean Payton asks Bo Nix, "What's in your backpack?" Nix reaches inside, grabs a roll of tape, and explained he'd need it for his ankles if he was going to train. He also pulled out a spare pair of football cleats and a lacrosse ball that he said he'd use for rolling out his back. And what wasn't in the bag was just as significant. Everything was football related. All of it.
Oh,
That's why you pick a guy 12th overall. That's why you do it right there.
It's a football guy.
100%. He just loves ball.
That's all it has to be. Doesn't have to be arm strength. Certainly doesn't have that. Doesn't have to be, quick decision-making ability that Sean Payton's going to chew him out from his, just centimeters from his face over in the regular season.
That's horrifying if I'm a Bronco fan. That's absolutely horrifying.
Oh, I'd be crying myself to sleep at night.
Man.
Drafting a guy because he has a lacrosse ball in his bag?
The coping has already started with our friend the DMVR.
When you had arrogant Sean Payton, boy, did the Cardinals dodge a bullet there. When you got him up there saying he baited these teams into selecting JJ McCarthy, and then also having a team within their conference get draft capital in order for them to trade up for it. It's insane.
What else is insane is if you don't run and get our newest shirt from the merchandise locker. It is the Phoenix Cardinal t-shirt. Right now, you can get it for free if you become a diehard at gophnx.com. Check out the many workings of our talented peers, including Craig Morgan, who has the best insight coverage of everything that's gone on with the Coyotes. You do not want to miss his content, as well as Gerald Bourguet. What the hell are the Phoenix Suns going to do now? Get all that and more at gophnx.com and pick up a free shirt. Listen, if you want to pick up a free hat, do that with your diehard membership for the year. But we got some shirts coming down the pipeline, kicking off with this Phoenix Cardinal shirt. Throw it on the screen now. Look at that. Phoenix Cardinal with some state vibes in the background, with a certain stadium in the background. I love it. It's one of my favorite shirts we've ever done here at gophnx.com. And again, you become a diehard, you're saving money. Every single year, you get a free piece of merch. It's one of the best things we do as we continue to grow out our community here at PHNX Sports. Check out the Discord, the PHNX Cardinal Discord, which was absolutely on fire during draft weekend. I can't wait to rock this during the season, Bo.
Yeah, can't wait for mine to show up on my doorstep. Illa Dre, $1.99 super chat. That safety with Draper is a sleeper pick. Absolutely. I had him. I had him on my favorite draft picks, top 3 favorite Cardinals draft picks of the 12 they made. You can check that out. It was earlier in the show. Big thanks to Illinois offensive coordinator for joining us this today, Johnny. It was a fantastic conversation. Gave us some insight as far as his players that are making their jump to the Arizona Cardinals. Outside of that, like this video, right? And continue the conversation in the member Discord. Oh, Charlie Sinclair jumping in with a quick super chat. How do we feel about Brennan Rice with the Chargers?
I'm glad you got one Hall of Fame levels son on the team. Right. Probably not the one you wanted, but it's a nice consolation prize. But
absolutely.
Yeah.
It was Barry Lunney Jr. who joined us. That interview will be up, and I highly encourage everybody to check out today's PHNX Coyotes. It was the final episode, PHNX Coyotes, as that show goes on hiatus until reactivation at some point, we hope happens. But it's a heavy broadcast, and then our guy Shane Diefenbach put together and produced one of the most beautiful pieces of content that we've seen here on PHNX Sports. It was the final Coyotes game here in the Valley. It's 11 minutes. It's more than worth your time. The whole crew involved in that, from Craig, Leah, and Petey. Highly suggest, if you're a sports fan of any kind, that you check out that video. Drop a like on it as well.
Ryan Henderson, $20. Thank you so much, Ryan, for the support on that level. Good job the past few days, boys. It was a hell of a time. Over 15 plus hours live from Thursday to Saturday. That included a 2-hour preview show on Wednesday, all produced by one man, Damon, Dawg, behind the scenes, as well as the many workings of our PHNX peers, Michaela, Jacob, everybody that did a fantastic job with the setup, Saul, Espo and company, Max. I mean, it's a team effort. And certainly, hopefully that came across in the broadcast, but we had a blast. And now hopefully we can have this draft be a springboard into some winning football in the desert. And that starts with mandatory mini camp right around the corner on May 10th, which, as both said, rookie mini camp, you can see the first appearance of Marvin Harrison Jr. in an Arizona Cardinal uniform.
What number is he going to wear? We'll find that out just a couple days from today. We got one more day of April to go. Tomorrow, talking to Drew Petzing, going to get some insight, what at least he'll tell us about the new draft class on the offensive side of the ball. And then Raleigh on Wednesday. Make sure you're following me at Bo Brock and at PHNX_Cardinals, Johnny Venerable, and of course, Damon Dawg. Leave a like on this video, share it around. In the meantime, I doubt there's going to be breaking news, but if there is, we'll go live. So make
no
sure
more emergency pods for now.
You got those alerts set up. But until now, until Tuesday afternoon at 4:30, have a great rest of your Monday. We'll talk to you then. PHNX Cardinals.
We all silly like the mayor.